Not in New York, where a federal judge just flipped the hourglass on the fate of Luigi Mangione, setting a death penalty trial date just shy of 1 year from now, on January 11th of next year. The normally clean-shaved Mangione was sporting a chin-strap beard and mustache as Judge Margaret Garnett started the countdown to D-Day in his potential capital murder case. I say potential because even as she starts the clock, Judge Garnett hasn't, in fact, decided whether the accused killer of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson could face execution. She set another court date for this October to rule on a defense request to drop the death penalty part of the case. Either way, jury selection is set to start in September. But the death penalty is not the only pre-trial issue before this judge. Today, she called in an Altoona, Pennsylvania police deputy chief to have him explain his department's policy on searching bags after an arrest. He reportedly gave contradictory testimony on what's allowed and what isn't. In images from Mangione's arrest in Altoona, you can see that backpack sitting just feet away from where he's being handcuffed. The judge is trying to parse out whether those police officers broke department protocol when they went through that backpack without waiting for a search warrant. The defense says they did, and that therefore the evidence should be tossed. Inside that backpack, officers found a treasure trove of alleged evidence, including a 3D printed handgun, a silencer, and crucially, a loaded gun magazine wrapped in a pair of underwear. It was that discovery, according to previous testimony, that prompted one officer to shout out, "It's him, dude, it's him, 100%. Joining me now is former prosecutor Dave Aronberg. Dave, great to see you. So the date is set. The question is whether Mangione is going to get the death penalty. What's your sense of what the judge is going to rule?
Good to be with you, Elizabeth. I think that he is going to be eligible for the death penalty when the feds try him, and that's going to be next. As far as the state case, no. In fact, the prosecution had overcharged and then got knocked down a bit by the judge because they tried to use a terrorism enhancer, and it's not terrorism. I mean, I'm no fan of Mangione, but what he did was not terrorism. It was an attempt to wipe out an insurance executive, and he did it for the people, not to terrify the people. No matter how wrong-headed he was.
What is the judge mulling over as she decides whether or not the feds can pursue the death penalty? What's that issue here?
Well, the federal case would come next, and they can seek the death penalty. So I don't think there's a real dispute there over that. The big dispute is over whether the evidence can be admitted in a trial. The feds have the death penalty, even in a state like New York, which is a non-death penalty state. The feds still have the ability.
Right.
There was a moratorium under the previous president, but under this one, it's game on.
So what about this issue with the search warrant, and the backpack, and the search of the backpack? We had this deputy chief from Altoona, Pennsylvania. It's not a major police department. He was explaining what the rules are, and he seemed to say, on the one hand, that they should have stopped as soon as they found something of interest to wait for a search warrant. But then under further questioning by prosecutors, he said, but if it's a gun, i.e. something dangerous, they have a right to continue searching. What do you think the judge is going to decide here on this evidence? Because it's really crucial.
It is crucial, and because it's so crucial, I think the judge is going to lean towards allowing it in. There are exceptions to the warrant requirement. I'm not as concerned that the police may have violated internal policies. It's whether they violated the Constitution, that pesky Fourth Amendment that we prosecutors always had to deal with. So you can do a search even without a warrant if there's an exigent circumstance. If you think he may have a bomb, after all, he had a ghost gun that was used in this crime, allegedly. And so they could say, we had an exigent emergency situation that we had to search it. Now, the harder part is that can they wait until later, till they're at the police station to search the backpack? Some of the most crucial evidence apparently came when they searched the backpack at the police station without a warrant. There's still some exceptions, an inventory search, the inevitable discovery rule. I think the judge is going to try to allow the prosecution to move ahead.
I don't know. It doesn't sound like the police thought it was a bomb in the backpack. They weren't even sure it was him until they searched the backpack and found the gun. Hence the it's him, dude, it's him, 100% exclamation from one of the officers. We shall see. It would be a huge thing if she tosses that, though. Dave Aronberg.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.